I trusted my son with everything. And one morning I woke up to find my locks changed, my bank account empty, and a stranger telling me I didn't live in my own house anymore. Before I continue, take a second to like this video and comment where you're watching from. I still remember that morning like it's burned into my mind. It was quiet, too quiet. I woke up earlier than usual, around 5:30 a.m. The sun hadn't fully risen yet, and the house had that soft gray light that makes everything feel a little unreal. For a moment I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to the silence. Normally by that time I'd hear something. My son moving around, the kettle in the kitchen, the creak of the front door. But that morning, nothing. First I didn't think much of it. My son, Daniel, had been acting distant lately. Spending more time out, taking calls in private, always saying he was working on something big. I figured he was just going through a phase. He was 28, trying to figure his life out. I trusted him. He was my son. I got out of bed, slipped on my slippers and walked toward the door. That's when something felt off. The door handle. It wouldn't turn. I frowned, thinking maybe I hadn't fully woken up yet. I tried again. Still nothing. It was like the handle was stuck. Or locked from the outside. My heart gave a small, uneasy thump. "Daniel!" called out. No answer. I knocked on the door. "Hey, Daniel, is something wrong with the door?" Still nothing. Now I was fully awake. A strange feeling crept up my spine as I pressed my ear against the door. Silence. No footsteps. No movement. It was like I was the only person in the house. I grabbed my phone from the nightstand and called him. Rang. And rang. Then went to voicemail. "Hey, it's me," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "My door's not opening. Call me back." I hung up and stared at the screen, waiting. Nothing. Minutes passed. Then something hit me. The window. I rushed over and pulled the curtains aside. The street outside looked normal. Cars parked, a couple of people walking their dogs, the same quiet neighborhood I'd lived in for over 20 years. But something else caught my attention. There was a moving truck parked 2 houses down. I frowned. That was odd. I didn't remember any neighbors moving. Then I noticed something else. Boxes. Outside my house. My stomach dropped. No. I hurried back to the door, pounding on it now. "Daniel! Open this door." My voice echoed in the empty house. Still no answer. Panic started to set in. My hands were shaking as I searched for something. Anything to open the door. I even tried using a butter knife I found on my dresser drawer, sliding it into the gap, but it was useless. The lock had been changed. From the outside. That's when it hit me like a punch to the chest. This wasn't an accident. This was done on purpose. I backed away slowly, my mind racing, trying to make sense of it. Why would Daniel lock me in my own room? Why wouldn't he answer his phone? And what were those boxes doing outside? Nothing added up. Nothing made sense. I called him again. Straight to voicemail. "Daniel, what's going on?" I said, my voice cracking now. "Open the door. Please." I hung up, my chest tightening. For the next hour I paced back and forth in that room, trying to stay calm, trying to think logically. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe this was some kind of misunderstanding. But deep down, I knew. Something was very, very wrong. Around 7:15 a.m., I finally heard something. Voices. Muffled but definitely coming from downstairs. Relief flooded through me. "Hey!" I shouted, rushing to the door. "I'm up here." The door's locked. A step. Then silence. And a knock. But it wasn't Daniel's voice that answered. "Yeah," a man said from the other side. Froze. A voice. I didn't recognize it. "Who is that?" I asked, my throat suddenly dry. Brief pause. Then the man replied casually, almost annoyed. "I was about to ask you the same thing." My heart started pounding. "I live here," I said quickly. "This is my house." My son Daniel, he's here. Can you open the door? There was a long silence. Too long. Then I heard the man chuckle. Lady, he said, I don't know what you're talking about, but we just bought this house. Been working on moving in since early morning. The world seemed to tilt. What? I whispered. That's not possible, I said louder, my voice shaking. This is my house. I've lived here for over 20 years. My son, he's here. He has to be. Another voice joined in, this time a woman. Are you sure you're at the right place? She asked gently, but with a hint of suspicion. I'm upstairs. I almost yelled. Please, just open the door. I heard more footsteps, whispers between them. Then the sound of keys. Click. The door slowly opened. And there I stood, in my own house, staring at two complete strangers holding a set of keys that should have only belonged to me. The man looked at me, confused. The woman looked at me like she wasn't sure whether to be concerned or scared. I think you need to leave, the man said carefully. We have all the paperwork. This house was sold to us last week. My ears rang. Sold? I repeated. My knees felt weak. That's not possible, I said again, but this time, it sounded hollow, even to me. 'Cause deep down, a horrifying thought was starting to form. There was only one person who could have done this. Only one person who had access. Only one person I trusted enough to never question. My son, Daniel. I pulled out my phone with trembling hands and dialed his number again. Straight to voicemail. I looked up at the strangers standing in my hallway. This is a mistake, I said, but my voice had lost all its strength. There has to be some kind of mistake. The man shook his head slowly. No, ma'am, he said. We signed everything. Paid in full. Your son handled the sale himself. That was it. That was the moment everything inside me broke. Because in that instant, I realized the truth. My own son didn't just betray me. He erased me. I stood there, frozen in the hallway, staring at two strangers who now legally owned the house I had spent half my life building. It didn't feel real. It felt like I was stuck in some kind of nightmare I couldn't wake up from. My son handled the sale. I repeated, my voice barely above a whisper. The man nodded slowly, watching me carefully now, like he was trying to figure out if I was confused or dangerous. Yes, ma'am, he said. Daniel, right? That's the name on the documents. Hearing his name out loud like that, from a stranger, in my house, it made my chest tighten. That's my son, I said, shaking my head. But he doesn't own this house. I do. The woman stepped forward slightly, her expression softening. Look, she said gently, maybe there's been some kind of misunderstanding, but we have the paperwork. Everything was verified through an agent. We wouldn't have bought it otherwise. Paperwork, agent, verified. Every word felt like a nail being hammered into the truth I didn't want to accept. I looked around. My living room, but not my living room anymore. There were boxes everywhere. Furniture had been shifted. My photos, my memories were gone from the walls. It was like someone had started erasing my life piece by piece. Where are my things? I asked suddenly. The man exchanged a glance with the woman. Your son said everything had already been moved out, he replied. He told us the house would be empty. Me. I let out a hollow laugh. I was upstairs, I said. Locked in my own bedroom. The silence that followed was heavy. The woman's eyes widened slightly. Wait, what? He locked me in, I said, my voice trembling now. He changed the locks. I woke up and couldn't get out. The man's expression shifted from confusion to something more serious. That doesn't sound right, he muttered. No, I said, shaking my head, tears starting to blur my vision. No, it doesn't. I turned away from them, my mind racing. There had to be an explanation. There had to be something I was missing. Daniel wouldn't do this. He couldn't. This was the same boy I used to carry on my shoulders. The same kid who used to run to me when he was scared of the dark. I raised him. I protected him. I gave him everything. So how could he do this to me? I dialed his number again. This time I didn't even wait for it to ring all the way. "Pick up, please pick up," I whispered. "Voicemail." Again. My hands dropped to my sides. "He's not answering," I said, more to myself than anyone else. The woman hesitated, then spoke carefully. "Do you have anywhere you can go?" That question hit harder than anything else. Anywhere to go. This was my home. This was the place I was supposed to feel safe. And now, I was being asked where I could go like I was some kind of outsider. "I don't understand," I said, my voice breaking. "How could he sell the house? It's in my name." The man frowned. "Actually, it was in both names," he said. I looked at him sharply. "What?" He nodded. "Daniel showed us the documents. Joint ownership. He had full legal rights to sell." My stomach dropped. Joint ownership. Suddenly memories started flooding back. Years ago, after his father passed away, Daniel had insisted on helping with paperwork. He said it would make things easier. "Safer. You shouldn't have to handle everything alone," he told me back then. "Put my name on the house. I'll take care of things." I trusted him. I didn't think twice. Why would I? He was my son. "Oh my God," I whispered, covering my mouth. The room started spinning. I had handed him the power to do this. I'd signed it myself. Tears streamed down my face as the realization sank in. This wasn't just betrayal. This was something he had planned. For a long time. The man cleared his throat awkwardly. "Ma'am, I'm really sorry. But legally this is our property now. We didn't know." I nodded slowly, even though every part of me wanted to scream. "I know," I said quietly. "It's not your fault. But someone was at fault. And I knew exactly who." I took a shaky breath and wiped my tears. "I need to find him," I said. Neither of them replied. There wasn't really anything they could say. I walked toward the front door, my legs feeling heavy, like each step was pulling me further away from the life I used to have. Before I stepped out, I turned back one last time. The house looked different already. Colder. Like it had rejected me. Like I didn't belong there anymore. And maybe I didn't. Because my own son had made sure of that. Outside, the morning air hit my face, but it didn't help. Nothing could help. I stood on the sidewalk, staring at the place I used to call home. 20 years. Just like that. I checked my phone again. No calls. No messages. Nothing. It was like Daniel had vanished. But I knew one thing for sure. He hadn't just disappeared. He had run. And people don't run unless they have something to hide. I clenched my phone tightly. "You're not getting away with this," I whispered under my breath. Because no matter how much it hurt, no matter how badly he had broken me, I was going to find my son. And when I did, I was going to get the truth. Even if it destroyed what little I had left of my heart. I didn't even remember how long I stood there on the sidewalk. People passed by like it was just another normal morning. Cars drove past. A dog barked somewhere down the street. Life kept moving like nothing had happened. But my world had just collapsed. I had nowhere to go. No plan. No answers. Just questions. And a pain in my chest that wouldn't go away. I looked down at my phone again, hoping, almost begging, to see Daniel's name pop up on the screen. Nothing. Not even a message. It was like I didn't exist to him anymore. I swallowed hard and forced myself to think. Okay, focus. Where would he go? Who would he be with? Daniel didn't have many close friends. He kept his circle small, private. But there was one person. Marcus. They had been friends since college. almost inseparable at one point. I remembered Daniel mentioning him a few weeks ago, something about a business idea. At the time I didn't think much of it. Now, it felt important. I quickly searched my contacts and found Marcus's number. I hesitated for a second, my thumb hovering over the call button. What if he already knew? What if he was part of this? My stomach twisted at the thought. No, I whispered to myself. Just call. Pressed it. The phone rang twice before he picked up. Hello. His voice sounded normal. Like nothing was wrong. Marcus, it's me, I said quickly. Daniel's mom. Brief pause. Oh, hey, he said, a little surprised. Everything okay? That question hit me like a slap. Do you know where Daniel is? Asked, skipping everything else. Another pause. Longer this time. I haven't talked to him in a couple days, Marcus said. He was lying. Could hear it. A mother knows. Marcus, I said, my voice tightening. Please don't lie to me. He sold my house. He locked me in my room and disappeared. I need to know where he is. Silence. Heavy silence. Then I heard him exhale slowly. Wait, what? He said, but it didn't sound like genuine shock. Sounded like someone buying time. You heard me, I said. He sold the house. It's gone. I'm standing outside right now with nowhere to go. Another pause. Then Marcus spoke again, quieter this time. I didn't know he actually did it. My heart skipped. Did what? I demanded. More silence. Marcus, I snapped. What did he tell you? I could hear him shifting on the other end, like he was debating how much to say. He said, Marcus began slowly. He said he was planning to sell the house. That he needed the money for something big. Some investment. My grip tightened around the phone. And you didn't think to tell me? I asked, my voice shaking with anger now. I thought he was joking, Marcus said quickly. I swear. I didn't think he'd actually go through with it, especially without telling you. But he did, I said. The words felt like poison coming out of my mouth. He did, Marcus. And now he's gone. There was a long pause again. Then I asked the question that had been building inside me. Where is he? Marcus hesitated. I don't know exactly, he said. But he mentioned something about leaving the city. My heart sank even further. Leaving? I whispered. Yeah, Marcus continued. He said once everything was done, he'd be out. Fresh start, new life. Those were his words. Fresh start, new life. Like I was just something he needed to get rid of. Did he say where? I asked, clinging to any piece of information. No, Marcus said. Just somewhere far. I closed my eyes, trying to steady my breathing. This was getting worse. Every answer just led to more questions. More pain. Marcus, I said softly, think. Please. Anything. Anyone he's been talking to, anywhere he's been going. I need something. He was quiet for a moment. Wait, he said. My eyes snapped open. What? There is one thing, he said slowly. A couple weeks ago, he asked me about offshore accounts. My stomach dropped. Offshore what? Accounts, Marcus repeated. Like, moving money out of the country. I thought it was part of that business idea he kept talking about. I felt like the ground beneath me was disappearing. He's running, I said. The realization hit me like a wave. He's not just leaving, he's trying to disappear. Marcus didn't respond. He didn't have to. We both knew it was true. Did he mention anyone helping him? Asked quickly. A lawyer. An agent. Someone who handled the sale. There was a guy, Marcus said after a moment. I don't know his name, but Daniel met him through someone online. Said he was handling everything for him. Handling everything. That explained how this had happened so smoothly. too smoothly. This wasn't a last-minute decision. This was planned. Carefully. Coldly. Marcus, I said, my voice firm now despite the tears still on my face. If he contacts you for any reason, you call me. Immediately. Do you understand? Yeah, he said quietly. I will. I hung up without another word. For a few seconds I just stood there staring at nothing. Then the weight of everything came crashing down again. He didn't just betray me. He planned it. He used me. And then he ran. I felt anger rise inside me, stronger than the fear. Stronger than the sadness. Because this wasn't just about losing a house anymore. This was about being treated like I didn't matter. Like I was nothing. I wiped my tears and took a deep breath. Okay, I whispered to myself. Okay, think. If he moved the money. If he had help. If he was trying to disappear. Then this was bigger than just a family problem. This was something else. Something serious. And if I was going to find him, I couldn't do it alone. I looked down at my phone again. There was only one option left. One I never thought I'd have to take against my own son. I opened the dial pad. And slowly, hesitantly, I pressed the numbers. As the phone rang, my hand trembled. 'Cause I knew. The moment I made this call, there was no going back. The moment I heard the operator's voice, my throat tightened. 911, what's your emergency? For a second, I couldn't speak. How do you even say something like this out loud? How do you tell a stranger that your own son has just stolen your life? I need help. I finally managed, my voice shaking. My son, he sold my house without my knowledge. He locked me inside and took everything. He's gone. There was a brief pause on the other end, the kind where you can tell they're processing what you just said. Ma'am, are you safe right now? The operator asked calmly. I looked around. Standing on the sidewalk. Strangers inside my home. My life in pieces. I don't know, I said honestly. I'm outside my house. Or what used to be my house. Okay, she said gently. I'm going to send an officer to your location. Stay where you are. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Okay. The call ended, and suddenly the silence around me felt louder than before. I wrapped my arms around myself, trying to hold it together. But inside, I was falling apart. About 15 minutes later, a police car pulled up. I watched as the officer stepped out. Tall, calm, composed. The kind of presence that usually makes you feel safe. But right now, nothing felt safe. Ma'am, he called as he approached me. That was me, I said, my voice quiet. He nodded and gave me a reassuring look. I'm Officer Reynolds. Can you tell me what's going on? I let out a shaky breath. And then, I told him everything. From waking up trapped in my room, to the strangers in my house, to the phone calls, to the realization that my own son had done this to me. I expected disbelief, confusion, maybe even suspicion. But instead he just listened. Carefully. Seriously. When I finished, there was a heavy silence. That's a lot, he said finally. Yeah, I replied bitterly. You could say that. He glanced toward the house, where the new owners were now standing in the doorway, watching us. Mind if I speak with them? He asked. I shook my head. Go ahead. They didn't do anything wrong. And that was the worst part. No one here had technically done anything wrong. Except my son. I watched as Officer Reynolds walked over and spoke with the couple. They handed him some documents. Papers I couldn't even bring myself to look at. Proof. Proof that everything was real. After a few minutes, he came back to me. His expression more serious now. They have a valid deed, he said. Signed, notarized, processed through legal channels. On paper. Everything checks out. My heart sank, even though I already knew that. But I didn't agree to sell it, I said. I didn't sign anything. He nodded. I understand. But if your son was listed as a co-owner, he may have had the legal authority to sell. Even without telling me. I asked, disbelief creeping into my voice. He hesitated. In some cases, yes. Felt like someone had punched me in the chest again. So that's it, said. He just gets to take everything and disappear. Not necessarily, he replied. There are still potential crimes here. I looked at him quickly. What do you mean? You said he locked you in your room, he said. That could be considered unlawful restraint. And if he misrepresented anything during the sale, or transferred money under false pretenses, there could be fraud involved. Fraud. Criminal word. A word I never thought would be connected to my son. He's trying to move the money offshore, I added quickly. His friend told me. He was planning this. That caught his attention. Offshore accounts, he repeated. Yes. He nodded slowly. Okay. That makes this more serious. For the first time since this nightmare started, I felt a tiny spark of something. Oh. So what happens now? Yes. He pulled out a small notebook. I'm going to file a report, he said. We'll start an investigation. I'll also need all the information you have. Your son's full name, contact details, anything you can think of that might help us locate him. I'll give you everything, I said immediately. Because at this point, I had nothing left to protect. He wrote down my statement, asking questions along the way. Details I didn't even realize I remembered until he asked. When we were done, he looked at me with a more serious expression. I'm going to be honest with you, he said. These cases can take time. If he's already moved the money and left the area, it won't be easy to track him. I don't care how long it takes, I said. I just want the truth. And deep down, I wanted something else too. I wanted to look him in the eyes and ask one question. Why? Why would you do this to me? Officer Reynolds nodded. We'll do everything we can. He handed me a card with his contact information. Call me if you remember anything else. Anything at all. I took it, holding it like it was the only solid thing left in my world. Thank you, I said quietly. After he left, the street felt empty again. The couple went back inside the house. My house? No, not anymore. I turned away, unable to look at it any longer. And that's when reality hit me again. Harder than before. I didn't just lose my home. I didn't just lose my son. I lost my entire life in a single morning. I checked my phone again. Still nothing. No calls. No messages. No sign that Daniel even cared. I let out a slow, shaky breath. Fine, I whispered. If he thought he could just disappear. If he thought he could erase me and walk away. He was wrong. Because I wasn't going to stop. Not now. Not ever. Even if it took everything I had left. I was going to find him. And when I did, he was going to answer for what he did. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't stand there any longer. Every second I stayed on that street felt like I was suffocating. So I walked. No destination. No plan. Just away. My phone was still clutched in my hand, like it was the only thing connecting me to what was left of my life. I kept checking it every few seconds, hoping, stupidly, that Daniel would call. That he'd say it was all a mistake. That he'd come back. But deep down, I knew he wouldn't. After about 20 minutes of walking, my legs started to feel weak. The shock was wearing off, and exhaustion was setting in. Emotional, physical, everything. That's when I realized something else. I didn't even have my purse. No wallet. No cash. Nothing. Everything was still inside the house. Inside a place I no longer had the right to enter. I stopped on the side of the road, my chest tightening again. Okay. Okay. I whispered to myself. Think. I needed somewhere to go. somewhere safe. And there was only one place that came to mind. My sister, Lena. We hadn't been as close these past few years. Life had gotten in the way. Distance, responsibilities, small disagreements that slowly built into silence. But she was still my sister. And right now, she was the only person I had left. I pulled up her number and hesitated. Part of me felt ashamed. Calling her like this. After so long. Only because I needed help. But I didn't have a choice. Pressed call. It rang longer than I expected. Then finally. Hello. Her voice. Familiar, but distant. Lena. I said, and the moment I heard my own voice it cracked. It's me. Hey, she said slowly. Everything okay? That question again. It almost made me laugh. No, I said. No, it's not. Something in my tone must have hit her, because her voice immediately changed. What happened? And just like that, broke. I told her everything. Not in a neat, calm way. But in pieces, fragments, words tripping over each other as the reality poured out of me. By the time I finished, I was crying again, standing on the side of the road like a stranger in my own life. There was silence on the other end. He did what? She said, her voice filled with disbelief. He sold the house, I repeated. He took everything and disappeared. That doesn't make any sense, she said. Why would he do that? I don't know. I snapped, the frustration finally boiling over. That's what I'm trying to understand. I immediately regretted my tone. I'm sorry, I said quietly. I don't know what to do. Her voice softened. Hey, it's okay, she said. Where are you right now? I don't even know, I admitted, looking around. A few blocks from the house. Stay there, she said firmly. I'm coming to get you. Relief hit me so suddenly it almost made me dizzy. Thank you, I whispered. Don't thank me, she replied. You're my sister. It was such a simple sentence. But it meant everything. About 30 minutes later, I saw her car pull up. I hadn't seen Lena in months. But the moment she stepped out and looked at me, everything felt real again. Her face dropped when she saw the state I was in. Come here, she said softly. And before I could say anything else, she wrapped her arms around me. That was it. That was the moment I completely fell apart. I cried into her shoulder like I hadn't cried in years. All the pain, the betrayal, the shock. It all came pouring out. I don't understand, I kept saying. I don't understand why he would do this. I know, she whispered. I know. After a few minutes, she gently pulled back. Let's get you somewhere safe, she said. He nodded. 'Cause right now, safe was all I wanted. Her house wasn't far. The drive there was quiet. I sat in the passenger seat, staring out the window, replaying everything over and over again in my mind. Every conversation with Daniel. Every moment I ignored something that felt off. Every sign I missed. How long has he been acting like this? Lena asked suddenly. I blinked. I don't know, I admitted. A few months maybe. He was more distant. Secretive. Always on his phone. She frowned. And you didn't think that was strange? I did, I said. But I trusted him. The words felt heavy. Painful. I trusted him, I repeated. Lena didn't respond right away. Then she sighed softly. You always did, she said. There was something in her tone. Something I couldn't quite place. What do you mean? I asked. She glanced at me briefly before looking back at the road. I just mean, you've always given him the benefit of the doubt, she said carefully. Even when maybe you shouldn't have. I frowned slightly. Are you saying this is my fault? No, she said quickly. That's not what I'm saying. But the silence that followed said more than her words. And for the first time, A different kind of thought crept into my mind. Had I missed something bigger? Something deeper? Something I didn't want to see? We pulled into her driveway, and I pushed the thought away. I couldn't handle that right now. Inside, her home felt warm. Normal. Everything mine used to feel like. "Sit down," she said, guiding me to the couch. "I'll get you some water." I nodded, sinking into the cushions. My body felt heavy, like it was finally realizing how much had just happened. A few minutes later, she handed me a glass. "Drink," she said gently. I took a sip, my hands still slightly shaking. "Thank you," I said again. She sat across from me, watching me carefully. "We're going to figure this out," she said. I nodded slowly. "I called the police," I told her. "They're starting an investigation." "Good," she said. "That's the right move." I stared down at the glass in my hands. "I just keep thinking. There had to be a reason," I said quietly. "People don't just do something like this for no reason." Lena didn't answer immediately. When I looked up at her, her expression had changed. It was more serious now, almost hesitant. "What?" I asked. She took a slow breath. "There might be something you don't know," she said carefully. My heart skipped. "What do you mean?" She hesitated again, like she was deciding whether or not to say it. Then finally, "A few weeks ago, Daniel came to see me." Everything inside me went still. "What?" "He asked me for money," she continued. "A lot of it." My pulse started racing. "For what?" "He wouldn't say," she replied. "Just that he was in trouble." The room suddenly felt colder. "What kind of trouble?" I asked. Lena shook her head. "I don't know. But whatever it was, it scared him." A chill ran down my spine. Because in that moment, I realized something even more terrifying than the betrayal. This might not have just been about money. Something else was going on. Something Daniel didn't want me to know. And whatever it was big enough for him to destroy his own family. I stared at Lena, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. "In trouble?" I repeated slowly. She nodded. "Yes. And not the kind where someone just needs help paying bills," she said. He was nervous, agitated. I've never seen him like that before. A cold feeling settled in my chest. Daniel, scared. That didn't match the image I had of him over the past few weeks. Calm, distant, almost calculated. "What exactly did he say?" I asked. Lena leaned back slightly, thinking. "He kept avoiding details," she said. "Every time I asked what the money was for, he'd change the subject. But he did say one thing." I leaned forward without realizing it. "What?" "He said if he didn't fix it soon, things would get very bad." The way she said it made my stomach twist. "Very bad," echoed. She nodded slowly. "And then he asked me if I knew anyone who could help him move money quickly." My breath caught. Move money. Offshore accounts. All connected. "Oh my God," I whispered. "What?" Lena asked. "He asked Marcus the same thing," I said. "About offshore accounts." Lena's expression darkened. "That's not normal," she said quietly. "No," I replied. "It's not." For a moment neither of us spoke. The silence between us was heavy, filled with questions neither of us had answers to. Then something hit me. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. Lena hesitated. "I thought about it," she admitted. "But we hadn't been talking much. And I figured he'd come to you if it was serious." A bitter feeling rose in my chest. "He didn't," I said. "He didn't come to me at all." And that hurt almost as much as everything else. Because it meant he didn't trust me. Or worse, he didn't care. "What did you say to him?" I asked. "I told him no," Lena said firmly. "I wasn't going to give him money without knowing what it was for." And I definitely wasn't getting involved in anything shady. I nodded slowly. That was the right thing to do. But he didn't take it well, she added. I looked up. What do you mean? He got frustrated, she said. Not angry exactly, but desperate. Like he was running out of time. Chill ran through me. Running out of time. For what? I whispered. I don't know, she said again. But whatever it was, it pushed him to this. Selling the house. Taking everything. Disappearing. I leaned back against the couch, trying to process it all. This doesn't feel like just greed, I said. It feels like pressure. Lena nodded. I was thinking the same thing. Like someone was pushing him, I continued. Or threatening him. The word hung in the air. Threatening. Neither of us said it out loud. But we both felt it. Do you think he's in danger? Lena asked quietly. I hesitated. Part of me wanted to say yes. To believe that there was some bigger reason behind all of this. Something that made his actions make sense. But another part of me, the part that felt the betrayal the most, wasn't so sure. I don't know, I admitted. But I do know this wasn't random. Lena leaned forward. So what do we do? I stared down at my phone again. Officer Reynolds' card was still in my hand. I need to tell the police everything, I said. About the money, the offshore accounts, everything. She nodded. Good. But that's not enough, I added. What do you mean? If Daniel is involved in something serious, something illegal, I said slowly, then there are other people involved too. Lena's expression tightened. And those people might not be the kind you can just reason with. Exactly. That was the part that scared me the most. This might be bigger than just a family betrayal. This might be something dangerous. Do you think he'll contact you? Lena asked. I shook my head. No. Not unless he needs something. The words felt heavy. 'Cause deep down, I knew that was the truth. He wouldn't call to apologize. He wouldn't call to explain. If he called, it would be because he wanted something else. And that thought made my chest ache. I just don't understand, I said again, my voice softer now. Why didn't he come to me? Why didn't he just tell me what was going on? Lena didn't answer right away. When I looked at her, she had that same hesitant expression again. What? I asked. She sighed. You're not going to like this, she said. My stomach tightened. Just say it. She hesitated for one last second. Then, I don't think he thought you'd help him. The words hit me harder than anything else that day. What? I whispered. I'm not saying it's true, she added quickly. I'm saying that's how he might have seen it. I shook my head. That doesn't make sense. I would have done anything for him. I know that, she said gently. But maybe he didn't. Silence. Heavy, painful silence. 'Cause for the first time, I was being forced to see this from a different perspective. Not as a mother who loved her son, but as someone he chose not to trust. And that realization, it broke something inside me. I gave him everything, I said, my voice trembling. Everything he ever needed. I know, Lena said softly. So why would he think I wouldn't help him? Yes. She didn't have an answer. Neither did I. And that was the worst part. Because no matter how much I tried to understand it, didn't make sense. Nothing about this made sense. I closed my eyes, taking a slow, shaky breath. Whatever this is, I said quietly, I'm going to find out. Lena nodded. And I'll help you. I looked at her, really looked at her. For the first time that day, I didn't feel completely alone. Thank you, I said. She gave me a small, reassuring smile. We're going to get through this. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But deep down, a dark feeling was growing. Because if Daniel really was in trouble, if he had gone this far to escape it, then whatever he was running from Might already be closer than we thought. I didn't sleep that night. Tried. Lena set up the guest room for me, gave me clean clothes, even made tea like she used to when we were younger. But none of it helped. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the same thing. My bedroom door. My own house. Taken from me. And Daniel's face, fading further and further away. Around 2:30 a.m. I gave up trying to sleep. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at my phone again. Still nothing. No calls. No messages. It was like he had completely erased me from his life. I clenched my jaw, trying to push down the emotions building inside me. Anger. Pain. Confusion. But underneath all of it, fear. Because the more I thought about what Lena said, the more it started to make sense in a way I didn't want it to. Desperate. Running out of time. Trying to move money fast. That wasn't just someone being greedy. That was someone trying to escape something. And if he was running, then what was chasing him? A sudden thought hit me so hard it made me sit up straight. What if it wasn't just him in danger? What if whatever he was involved in came looking for him at the house? Me. My chest tightened. I grabbed my phone and stood up, pacing the room. No, I whispered. Would someone go that far? Would they come after family? I didn't know. And that scared me even more. I stepped out into the hallway quietly and saw a light on in the living room. Lena. She was sitting on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, staring at the TV. But it was muted. She wasn't watching it. She was thinking. Just like me. You couldn't sleep either? I asked softly. She looked up, a tired smile crossing her face. Not even close. I walked over and sat beside her. For a moment, neither of us said anything. The silence wasn't awkward. It was heavy. Sure. I keep thinking about what you said, I finally admitted. About him being in trouble. She nodded slowly. Me too. I hesitated, then said it out loud. What if whoever he owes comes looking for him? Her expression changed instantly. You think that's possible? She asked. I don't know, I said. But if he disappeared suddenly? If he took all that money? I trailed off. We both understood what I was trying to say. He might not be the only one on someone's radar. Lena sat up straighter now. We should be careful, she said. Just in case. He nodded. Yeah. That word, careful, felt strange. Like we were suddenly part of something bigger than we understood. And I hated that feeling. I hated that my son had dragged us into something like this. Before I could say anything else, my phone buzzed. The sound cut through the silence like a knife. Both of us froze. I looked down slowly. Unknown number. My heart started racing instantly. Answer it, Lena whispered. My hand trembled as I swiped to accept the call. Hello, said cautiously. For a second, nothing. Just silence. Mom. My entire body went still. Daniel. It was him. Daniel. I said, my voice breaking instantly. Where are you? There was a pause. Then I heard him exhale shakily. I don't have much time, he said. The way he said it sent a chill down my spine. What do you mean you don't have much time? I demanded. What did you do? I didn't have a choice, he said quickly. Anger surged through me. You always have a choice. Snap. You sold my house, Daniel. You locked me in like I was nothing. I know, he said. His voice filled with something I hadn't heard in a long time. Guilt. I'm sorry, he added. The words hit me, but they weren't enough. Not even close. Sorry, I repeated. That's all you have to say. I'm trying to fix it, he said. But you don't understand. Then make me understand. Cut him off. Because right now, all I see is my son destroying everything and running away. Silence. Heavy silence. I messed up, he said quietly. Bad. My grip tightened on the phone. How bad? Asked. Another pause. Then he said something that made my blood run cold. I owe people money. There it was. The truth. How much? Asked. A lot. That's not an answer, Daniel. Hundreds of thousands. I felt like the air had been knocked out of me. What? Lena whispered beside me, her eyes wide. How does that even happen? I demanded. I invested in something, he said quickly. It was supposed to be a sure thing. But it wasn't. I lost everything. And then I borrowed more to try to fix it. My heart sank. You gambled, I said. No, he snapped. It wasn't gambling. It was. It was a mistake, I cut in. A massive one. He didn't argue. 'Cause he knew I was right. They're not normal people, he continued, his voice lower now. The ones I owe. They don't just let things go. Cold wave washed over me. What does that mean? I asked quietly. It means if I don't pay, they come after me. And you think stealing from me was the solution? I said, my voice shaking again. I didn't steal from you, he said defensively. The house was in my name too. It hurt. More than anything else he had said. So that makes it okay? Yes. No, he said quickly. But I didn't have time. They were giving me a deadline. So you locked me in my room and ran. I said, disbelief filling every word. I was trying to protect you, he said. I laughed bitterly. Protect me. By leaving me with nothing. There was silence again. They know about you, he said. Everything inside me froze. What? I whispered. They knew where I lived, he continued. They knew about the house. About you. My heart started pounding uncontrollably. So I had to move fast, he said. Get the money. Disappear. You think disappearing will fix this? Yes. It's the only chance I have, he replied. And what about me? I demanded. What happens to me, Daniel? He didn't answer right away. And that silence said everything. Mom, he said finally, his voice softer now. I just need time. That's all he was asking for. After everything he had done. I gave you my whole life, I said, tears streaming down my face again. And this is what I get in return. I said I'm sorry. I don't need your apology, I snapped. I need the truth. Another pause. Then I asked the question that had been building inside me since this all started. Who are these people, Daniel? His breathing changed. Faster now. More anxious. You don't want to know, he said. Tell me, I insisted. No, he said firmly. The less you know, the better. Daniel. I have to go, he said suddenly. Panic shot through me. No, wait, don't hang up. But it was too late. The line went dead. I stared at my phone in shock. Daniel, I said, even though I knew he was gone. Nothing. Just silence. I slowly lowered the phone, my hands shaking. Lena looked at me, her face pale. What did he say? She asked. I swallowed hard. He's in deeper than we thought, I said. And for the first time, I realized something terrifying. This wasn't just about getting my life back anymore. This was about survival. For a long time after the call ended, neither of us spoke. The silence in the room felt suffocating. Lena just stared at me, waiting. And I sat there, holding my phone like it might ring again if I didn't move. But it didn't. Stayed quiet. Just like he did. Well, she asked finally, her voice tense. I swallowed, trying to steady myself. He owes money, I said. A lot of it. How much? Hundreds of thousands. Her eyes widened instantly. Are you serious? I nodded slowly. And the people he owes, they're not normal. The words felt heavy, dangerous. Lena leaned back, running a hand through her hair. Oh my God. He said they know about me, I added quietly. That got her attention even more. They know about you, she repeated. Yes. Her posture changed immediately. More alert now, more protective. Okay. Okay, that's not good, she said. That's really not good. I know. My voice barely came out. Because now, it wasn't just about Daniel anymore. It was about us. About safety. About what might happen next. What else did he say? She asked. I hesitated for a moment. He said he was trying to protect me, I said, bitterness creeping into my tone. By selling the house and disappearing. Lena let out a dry, disbelieving laugh. That's his idea of protection. Apparently. We both fell silent again. But this time, the silence felt different. Heavier. More dangerous. What if they come here? Lena asked suddenly. The question hit me like a punch. I don't know, I admitted. But if they were tracking him? If they knew where he lived? They could trace him back to you, she finished. I nodded slowly. And now I'm here. Her house. Her address. Another place connected to me. Another potential target. I shouldn't have come here, I said suddenly, standing up. I'm putting you at risk. What? No, Lena said quickly, standing up too. You're not going anywhere. I can't stay, I insisted. Not if there's even a chance. Stop, she said firmly. Her tone caught me off guard. You're my sister, she continued. You're not a burden. You're not a risk I'm afraid of. We'll figure this out together. I shook my head. You don't understand. No, you don't understand, she cut in. You just lost your home. Your son disappeared. And now you think you have to face this alone. Her voice softened slightly. You don't. I felt my throat tighten again. Because part of me wanted to believe her. But another part, the part that was starting to understand just how serious this was terrified of dragging her into it. Before I could respond, there was a sudden knock at the door. Both of us froze. It wasn't loud. It wasn't aggressive. But at that moment, it might as well have been a gunshot. Lena and I slowly turned toward the door. Neither of us moved. Were you expecting anyone? I whispered. She shook her head. No. Another knock. This one slightly firmer. My heart started pounding again. Don't open it, I said immediately. I'm not going to, she replied, her voice low. We stood there completely still, listening. A voice from the other side. Police. Relief hit me so fast it almost made my knees weak. Lena let out a breath she had clearly been holding. I'll check, she said. She walked carefully toward the door and looked through the peephole. It's him, she said. Officer Reynolds. I exhaled deeply. Okay. She opened the door and he stepped inside. His expression serious. Sorry to come this late, he said. But I needed to talk to you as soon as possible. Something in his tone made my stomach drop. What is it? Yes. He looked at me directly. We found something. My heart skipped. What? He took a step closer. We tracked a recent transaction connected to your son. I held my breath. And it wasn't just the house money, he said. A cold feeling spread through my chest. What do you mean? He hesitated for just a second. Then said, large sums have been moving through multiple accounts. Yes. Too fast. Lena and I exchanged a glance. That doesn't sound good, she said. It isn't, he replied. This isn't just someone trying to pay off a debt. This looks like money laundering. The word hit me like a shockwave. Money laundering. I repeated. He nodded. Your son may be involved in something much bigger than personal debt. Felt dizzy. No, that's not possible, I said. Daniel wouldn't. He already sold your house and disappeared, he said gently. We have to consider every possibility. I couldn't argue with that. Not anymore. What happens now? Lena asked. We're escalating the case, he said. This could involve organized crime. Organized crime. The room suddenly felt colder, more dangerous, like the walls themselves were listening. He's in serious trouble, the officer continued. And if he's moving money for the wrong people, then this situation is far from over. I swallowed hard. Are we in danger? Yes. He didn't answer immediately, and that was all I needed to know. We don't have any direct threats toward you yet, he said carefully. But given the circumstances, I'd advise you both to be cautious. Cautious, that word again. But now, it carried even more weight. Is there anything we should do? Lena asked. Stay alert, he said. Limit who you talk to. And if you notice anything unusual, call me immediately. I nodded slowly, because at this point, normal life didn't exist anymore. Before he left, he turned to me one more time. If your son contacts you again, he said, you need to let us know right away. I hesitated, because despite everything, a part of me still saw Daniel as my son. Not a suspect, not a criminal, just my child. I will, I said quietly. After he left, the house felt different. Not safe, not normal, just uncertain. I sat back down on the couch, my mind racing. Money laundering, organized crime, danger. All of it connected to one person. Daniel. I don't like this, Lena said softly. Neither do I. I looked down at my phone again. Still no new calls. But now, I wasn't just waiting for answers anymore. I was bracing for what might come next. Because whatever Daniel had gotten himself into, it wasn't just destroying his life. It was coming for everything around him. And we were right in the middle of it. I barely slept again. But this time, it wasn't just fear. It was anticipation. That heavy, suffocating feeling that something was coming. And there was nothing I could do to stop it. Morning came slowly. Gray light filled the room again. Just like the morning everything fell apart. Except now. I wasn't in my house. I wasn't in my bed. And I wasn't the same person anymore. I sat up staring at my phone. Still nothing from Daniel. But somehow, that silence felt louder than ever. Because now I knew. When he called, it wouldn't be good. I stepped out into the living room and found Lena already awake, sitting with a cup of coffee, staring into space. You didn't sleep either. Yes. She shook her head. Not really. I sat down across from her. For a moment we just looked at each other. No words. Because what was there left to say? Then suddenly, my phone buzzed. We both froze instantly. Grabbed it. Unknown number. Again. My heart started racing. It's him, I said. Put it on speaker, Lena whispered. I nodded, answering the call. Hello. There was no delay this time. Mom. His voice. But something was different. He sounded worse. More anxious. More desperate. Daniel, I said quickly. Where are you? I can't tell you, he replied immediately. My grip tightened on the phone. Then why are you calling? I demanded. Because things got worse, he said. Chill ran through me. How? There was a pause. I don't have the money anymore. The words didn't register at first. What? Said. I lost it, he said. All of it. My entire body went cold. You're telling me, I said slowly, trying to process it. You sold my house, took everything, and now it's gone? I was trying to multiply it, he said quickly. I thought I could fix everything before the deadline. You thought. Snap. You thought. I didn't have a choice, he said, his voice rising. You had a choice every second, Daniel. Shouted. And you chose this. There was silence. Then I heard something in the background. Voices. Faint, but there. My heart skipped. Where are you? I asked again, more urgently now. I told you I can't. Daniel, listen to me, I said firmly. The police are involved. They know about the money. They know about everything. That got his attention. What? He said. You're in serious trouble, I continued. This is bigger than you think. A short, shaky breath came through the phone. It's already bigger than you think, he said quietly. Those words sent a chill straight through me. What does that mean? I asked. But before he could answer, a loud noise came from his end, like a door slamming. Then voices, clearer now, angrier. Daniel, said, panic rising. What's going on? Mom, listen to me, he said quickly, his voice dropping. If anything happens. What do you mean, if anything happens? I interrupted. I shouldn't have called, he muttered. I shouldn't have. Daniel. They found me. Everything stopped. My breath. My thoughts. Everything. What? I whispered. They're here, he said, his voice shaking now. I have to go. No, wait, don't hang up. Cried. Daniel, where are you? I'm sorry, he said. And then, the line went dead. Daniel. Silence. Just silence. I stared at my phone, my entire body trembling. No. What happened? Lena asked, rushing toward me. They found him, I said, my voice barely coming out. He said they found him. Her face went pale. Who found him? I don't know. My chest felt like it was caving in. I immediately dialed Officer Reynolds. He answered quickly. Hello. It's me, I said, my words rushing out. He just called. Daniel. He said they found him. Slow down, he said. What exactly did he say? I repeated everything. Every word. Every sound. When I finished, there was a brief silence. That's not good, he said. That's not good. I repeated. What does that mean? It means we need to move fast, he said. Did you hear anything in the background? Anything that could help us locate him? I closed my eyes, trying to remember. Voices. The noise. Doors, voices. It sounded like he wasn't alone, I said. Okay, he replied. Stay where you are. We'll try to trace the call. Is he going to be okay? Yes. That question felt different now. Because despite everything, despite the betrayal, despite the pain, he was still my son. And I was terrified of losing him. There was a pause on the line. I don't know, the officer said honestly. That answer hit harder than anything else. After the call ended, I just stood there. Frozen. Lena placed a hand on my shoulder. We're going to find him, she said softly. But her voice didn't sound confident. And for the first time, I allowed myself to think the unthinkable. What if we were too late? What if everything he did, everything he destroyed, still wasn't enough to save him? I sank down onto the couch, staring at nothing. 'Cause now, this wasn't just about answers anymore. This wasn't just about justice. This was about whether or not my son was even going to survive what he got himself into. And deep down, a horrible feeling was growing. That the worst part of this story was still coming. I don't remember how long I sat there after that call. Time stopped making sense. Minutes felt like hours. And every second felt heavier than the last. I just kept staring at my phone, waiting for it to ring again, hoping, praying. But it stayed silent. Lena sat beside me, her hand resting on my shoulder, but neither of us spoke. There was nothing left to say. 'Cause deep down, we both knew. Something had gone very, very wrong. Hours passed. At some point, Officer Reynolds called back. I answered before the first ring could finish. Did you find him? Asked immediately. There was a pause. And that pause told me everything. We traced the call, he said carefully. It came from a motel about 30 minutes outside the city. My heart started racing again. Is he there? Yes. Another pause. We need you to come down to the station. My stomach dropped. No, I said quietly. No, just tell me. Is he okay? Silence. There was an incident, he said. The room started spinning. What kind of incident? I whispered. They found him in the room, he continued. He was injured. Injured how? I demanded, my voice rising. Another pause. Then the words came. And they shattered everything. He didn't make it. The world went silent. Completely silent. Like someone had turned off all sound. No, I whispered. My phone slipped slightly in my hand. No, that's not possible. I'm very sorry, he said gently. But I barely heard him. Because in that moment, everything inside me broke. He was just here, I said, my voice trembling. He just called me, he was talking to me. I understand, the officer said softly. No, you don't, I said. You don't understand. Tears started falling again. Uncontrollably now. He's my son, I said. He's my son. Lena took the phone from my hand as I completely fell apart. I don't remember much after that. Just pieces, fragments, her voice talking to the officer, her arms around me, the sound of my own crying, louder than anything I had ever heard. Later that day, we went to the station. I don't even remember the drive. Felt like I was outside my own body, watching everything happen to someone else. They sat me down in a small, quiet room. Officer Reynolds was there. His expression said everything before he even spoke. I'm so sorry, he said again. I nodded slowly, even though nothing inside me understood what was happening. What happened? Yes. He took a deep breath. We believe the people he owed tracked him down, he said. There was a confrontation. My hands tightened in my lap. And he didn't survive it. The words felt distant, like they were meant for someone else. But he called me, I said. He said they found him. Yes, the officer said. It seems that was moments before. Moments. I swallowed hard. So, he knew. Yes. He hesitated. We think so. A sharp pain hit my chest. 'Cause that meant, those last words. I'm sorry. He knew. He knew it was the end. And that was the last thing he said to me. I closed my eyes, tears slipping down again. I never even got to. I whispered. I couldn't finish the sentence. 'Cause there were too many things I never got to say. Too many questions. Too many emotions. Too much unfinished. After a while, the officer spoke again. There's something else, he said. I looked up slowly. What? We recovered some of the money, he said. Not all of it, but some. I didn't react. Money didn't matter anymore. Nothing did. And the people involved, we're working on it, he added. I nodded faintly. 'Cause justice didn't feel important right now either. All I felt was loss. Days passed. Then weeks. Life didn't go back to normal. Couldn't. Because normal didn't exist anymore. I lost my home. I lost my security. But most of all, I lost my son. And no matter what he did, no matter how much he hurt me, that pain never went away. Because at the end of the day, he was still the little boy I raised. The one who used to hold my hand. The one who used to call me when he was scared. And somewhere along the way, I lost him long before that morning. I just didn't see it. Sometimes I sit and think about everything that happened. All the signs I ignored. All the moments I could have asked more questions. Maybe things would have been different. Maybe not. But one thing I know for sure. Silence destroys more than truth ever could. If he had just told me. If he had just trusted me. Maybe he wouldn't have felt so alone. Maybe he wouldn't have made those choices. Maybe. he would still be here. I still don't have my house back. I had to start over. Completely. But in a strange way. That doesn't hurt as much anymore. Because losing a house is nothing compared to losing a child. Even one who betrayed you. Even one who broke your heart. Because love doesn't just disappear. Says, even after everything. Even after the end. If you're watching this, and you have someone in your life who's struggling, don't ignore it. Don't assume they'll figure it out. Questions. Listen. 'Cause sometimes, people don't need solutions. They just need someone to know the truth. Before it's too late. Thank you for watching this story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. For more stories like this, check out our channel and watch other videos. Visit our channel for more exclusive content and updates.